Bang, welcome back to the number one podcast in the world. I am joined with MMA Australian legend Suman Mokhatarian. Thank you for joining me today, brother.
Thank you very much for having me today.
I think it's not right to just categorize you as an MMA fighter though, because you're so much more than that.
I try to be, but I wouldn't even say I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
You know, I would just say like I'm an athlete / promoter / I don't even know, / coach.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you're a coach. You've founded the Urban Fight Night. You've competed in all levels of MMA up to the UFC. I mean, you've got a very impressive resume.
Yeah, I like you. Original. One that I'm blessed to have. You know, like I worked pretty hard to get to where I am, but at the same time, it was all like a bit of all things falling into place at the right time.
Yeah,
you know, I was luckily I had my brother always to help me out. Like most people know, I couldn't have done everything by myself. So the times where I could focus on coaching, my brother was fighting, vice versa.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, your brother is Ash Mokhatarian.
Yeah.
And he also fought in the UFC.
Yes, he did.
So
before me. He kind of opened up the doors.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For me to do it.
And from that, why don't we rewind a little bit? So obviously you two have a very close relationship now. Was it always like that?
Yes and no. Like growing up, being the younger brother, you always wanted to be like your older brother, looking up to your older brother, trying to follow his footsteps and do whatever he was doing. But there was always that point in life where you kind of got to be your own person. I grew up a little bit and we distanced for a little bit, not so much in terms of like we wouldn't talk or anything like that or anything happened. It was just like he was doing other things in life and I was kind of just in high school and focused on my own friends and stuff like that as well. But
did you guys always have like fighting to bond over?
No, never. Like never. I always liked like fighting, but I wasn't like any huge fighting fan. And neither was my brother. Like I'd never seen my brother even watch a boxing match before. Maybe I was like 17. I would have been 17. My brother would have been about like 25. So I was.
Shit, really?
Yeah, he's 8 years older than me.
So he hadn't like.
He didn't even train before. No, nothing before the age of 25.
Are you serious?
Yeah, nothing before the age of 25.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, bro. Like he went like ham for like a few years with the fighting, like to progress like a little bit, not quicker, but he went so hard. He was training 2 times a day in like the first 6 months that he started training. So yeah, like he went really, really hard in that first like bit of training.
So if we're looking, did you say 16?
I was 17.
17. You would have been in like the early days of the UFC then. Like
yeah. Well, it was Ultimate Fighter 1. I remember I got a like a legal DVD. Like I can't even remember how it ended up at my house. My brother's ex-girlfriend at the time, she did kickboxing and she had all these like pirated DVDs and she came across with one and it said fight on it. And I just put it into my computer and watched it and it was the first season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
I was like, what the hell is this? I watched it, didn't realize what it even was. I just saw them fighting in the cage and then I didn't see it again for like another year or so. And then I saw it pop up on my TV and then I heard a commentator and he sounded Australian. I was like, we have this in Australia?
Yeah.
This is crazy. But I never thought anything of it. I just watched it and then the next week it was on again. It was a CFC show. It was run by Luke Pizzuti. The next week on Fox Sports, it was on again. And I remember my brother was sitting there and he was watching it with me. My brother back then, he used to sit back and he used to smoke his bongs and sit back and watch his shows. So he was watching it with me and he goes, oh, I could do that. I could fight. Okay,
so you
guys.
Say your brother used to take a couple hits.
Yeah.
Tell me you didn't.
Back then? Yeah. No way. Really? No. I like honestly, I did not smoke. I didn't drink. I didn't do nothing. I do smoke weed.
Yeah.
But I didn't smoke weed until the age of probably like 23, 24.
That's surprising because if you're seeing your older brother, just vibe and sash out.
Yeah, I never. He. If I ever touched it when I was 16, 17, my brother would have beat the shit out of me. Yeah. No, like it wasn't like that. Like if I touched drugs, my brother would have like beat the crap out of me. Like it wasn't something that I could do. It was something that he did, But like if I did it, like he would have lost his shit. You know, he was always very, very watchful of me. And like even when I was at that age, I was still scared to do things like that in front of him. Like it wasn't like open. It was just he could do it, and if I did it, I was gonna get my ass kicked, and all my friends were gonna get their ass kicked too.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And but until I got like old enough for myself and to make my own decisions and stuff like that, I respected the word of my brother, and no matter what he was doing, like, you know, I just still had to listen. I was still the younger brother.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So you guys are just hanging out on the couch.
Yeah, hanging out, and he was high, and he just. I actually remember it's so funny because I actually remember the fight that we were watching. It was a fight between Robert Whittaker.
Oh, really?
And I'm pretty sure it was Nick Ariel.
Yeah.
And they were fighting, and Rob Whittaker was 17 years old on TV fighting. I think he was fighting at maybe 70 kilos back then.
And so how important to you was it seeing like an Aussie there on screen fighting?
Like, I think more important for me, it was more important for my brother.
Right.
Because like something clicked in his head. He's like, I can do this. And when he heard that it was an Australian, it made it more real for him, more believable for him, you know. And then like as he was talking shit, like 1 minute later you just see Rob knock this guy out cold. And I was like, yeah, you want to fight that guy, huh? And he goes, what, you think I can't do it? You think I can't do it? And I'm like, oh yeah, all right, let's go. And then I had a friend who trained jiu-jitsu at Anthony Perosh's gym.
Oh, back really?
Then. Yeah, I had a friend before I trained jiu-jitsu or did anything. I had a friend who trained at Anthony Perosh's gym. He told me to come down there.
Perosh that trains Joey Belfiore now. There you go. Small world, right?
Since back then, and I had like 3 or 4 of my friends back then. I had a good friend of mine back then, Adam Celestino. He was a fighter for Anthony Perosh.
Right. Okay.
And he was like one of the first one out of the boys that like we've seen fight MMA as well. So it was kind of like within the circle. But then when I saw it on TV, it was like a whole different thing, you know? And my friend was like, oh yeah, come down to my gym. But I didn't really want to go down to my friend's gym. One, because it was in Concord. It was a little bit further away. I wanted to go somewhere out west a bit more. So we found a gym in Granville that I found a flyer for. Yeah. Took my brother down there. And he got choked unconscious his first class. He got choked out. He got put to sleep. And he was put to sleep. Yeah, he got put to sleep. The guy that put him to sleep, his name was David Jenkinson.
Yeah, I love how you remember this.
I do remember this. It was about 11, 12 years ago. His name was David Jenkinson. He was small, tiny guy. He owns a gym now in the Hawkesbury, Gracie Bar Hawkesbury. He's a black belt. He was a white belt at the time. My brother came in, even though he was on the bong, he was still juiced. This guy walks in, bigger than everyone. They put him with this small little guy, and he put him in a lapel choke.
And so at this point, are you training as well?
No, I watched the first.
You just watched.
I was like, let's see how he goes, and then I'll see if I want to jump in. He got put to sleep. I had a good laugh at it, and then we left.
So you found it funny?
I found it hilarious. I was like, bro, see, that's what happens. We walked down. He was so distraught. He was so cut. Yeah. That someone so small could do that to him, you know. But
and there's something about getting choked out as well, where it's like the only reason you walked out of that is because you fell asleep or because you tapped out.
Well, that's right. If they kept choking, you would have died.
You would have died. Literally. Your life is literally in someone else's arms.
Yeah, that's why it's dangerous as well when people are training, in case someone's getting put in a choke. That the person that's choking has to understand when to let go as well, in a situation like that. So luckily enough, he realized that he was asleep. My brother woke up with the whole class laughing, pouring some water over him, saying, oh, that's all right, you're going to learn from that. And I thought that was it. I thought he learned his lesson. I'm not going to hear about this fighting stuff anymore. Yeah. Because I wasn't, I used to get in a lot of fights, but I wasn't really interested in fighting in the street. Oh, in the cave.
It's interesting you say that because every fighter, almost all the fighters I've spoken to in the past kind of had a bit of a backstory in fighting. Yeah. So, Fahud, for example.
Karate.
Karate, but also got dropped at school, and that's when it really switched for him that he wanted to become a fighter. Or, Luke Jacobs spoke very much so about how he's involved in a lot of street life stuff. Do you find yourself having any kind of rough routes that kind of would have steered you towards fighting, or do you think you had it pretty smooth?
Everyone had rough routes.
Yeah.
Like growing up, I wouldn't say I had it rougher than anyone else. I had like times in my life, like my life story kind of gets thrown around a bit, but what people don't realize is there's always stages in life. You know, there's stages in life, and it's not always going to be good for everyone throughout your whole life, you know? So I've had like rough parts, but I wouldn't say that I had like a bad upbringing. Like I had like a couple rough years, like from maybe the age of 17 to about 21, 20, or maybe a bit younger, probably, because I started getting into a lot of trouble when I was maybe 15. But like when I say trouble, I wasn't like going around and like selling drugs or doing like big deals or kidnapping. I wasn't doing anything like
armed robberies.
No. I've never done it. Like I've never done an armed robbery in my life.
Yeah.
Like, or like I don't think
I'm not
most people.
suggesting you
No,
are.
most people haven't. But like I've never stolen a car. I've never been to jail. You know, I've never been in trouble with the police. Like myself. You know, my brother has, but I haven't. You know.
So do you think learning from his experiences then and seeing
100%.
him go like probably down a route that
100%.
you didn't see fit for yourself?
Yeah, without a doubt, because I'm very, like I was saying it before to you, like I'm like saying, oh, I'm a dumb cunt, you know, I do some stupid shit sometimes, you know, and you were like, nah, you sound like you're pretty switched on, but I have stupid moments and I do stupid shit, you know. I've done a lot of wrong things. Like there's so many times in my past where I've just done things that I regret, but I guess at the same time turned me into the person that I am. But at the same time, I think that I didn't make more mistakes because I learned from my brother's ones. He kind of took the bullet like a lot of times for that, because the same things that he did or the same things that he got caught for, like anyone could have gotten caught for, gotten in trouble with, or fallen into that line of very easily. And because we grew up in the same areas, had a lot of the same people around us, even though there was an 8-year gap, the area is still kind of the same. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
Oh, it's not going to change in 5 years.
Change in 5 years, you know. So I was always kind of in the same cycle. Yeah, I was always in the same cycle, but I guess I broke the cycle.
The only reason I asked that is because I think in order to be the kind of person that steps into a cage and literally puts their lives on the line, you know, no matter what level it is, whether it's your lowest form of MMA up to the very heights of UFC, you do have to have like some kind of grit to you. You do have to have seen some shit.
Yeah. Like that. One thing, like,
it's one thing to train, but it's another to actually go and compete.
Yeah, I don't know where that kind of comes from, really. Like, a lot of people say it, like, they'll say it when they train with me, and they say it a lot when they watch me fight. Sometimes you say I'll take some beatings and I'll get kicked in the face. And my style is to, like, take damage and come forward as well, like, put on an entertaining fight. People are like, oh, how do you have the heart and the courage to kind of do that? And I always say to like everyone, like it's something that everyone has in them. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everyone can be strong if they want to be strong. And my mindset is what kind of separates me from like other people, because even though it's not something that I want it so bad, I want to be this, or I want to get to you, I've never kind of been like, oh, I want to win, so I want to win more than I can breathe, you know, like people make all those comments. I've never been like that, but I've always said to myself, well, I'm going to do something. I've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or I've got this hour that I've got this training time. I'm going to make the most of it. Right. I don't waste my time. Like I literally do nothing. If I'm not doing something that's making me better, I won't do anything. I'll sit at home and I'll watch like my show. But then the moment I do something, like, all right, it's work time, I'm going to get up for that 6 hours and I'm going to get my work done. Right. I'm going to get my stuff done, so then I can sit back and relax.
So you really value efficiency, and you really value...
Yeah, I think time is very important. And like I'm someone that says, if I'm doing this for an hour, I'm going to do it real hard. Now with fighting, every fight that I go into, you know, when the nerves and everything hit in, I say to myself, this is my last fight ever. I'm going to go 100%. I'm just going to give it everything I have. And then when it gets to that point, like I don't have to think about anything else anymore. I just say to myself, this is it. This is the moment. This is the last time that I'm going to do. Every fight I say that to myself. Every fight I say this is my last fight.
Yeah.
You know, but not because I don't want to fight again, because as soon as the fight is done, I'm like, all right, cool, let's go again. But I say it like the mentality of like, this is the last time I'm ever going to do it. If I die, I'm going to die doing this, you know? So
yeah, I've heard you say that in fights before. I've heard you say like, I don't care if I get knocked out this fight.
yeah. Something I say before my fights always. If you ask any referee that's ever refereed me, that you will hear me say it. I go, listen, no matter what happens, I'm prepared to die in that ring tonight. So if I die, if I get knocked out, just know that I'm happy. Let it go. Let it go. I don't want the fight to get stopped. I just want it to go until someone's not breathing. Yeah. And if it's me, that's fine. If it's the other guy, even better. You know, I'd rather it be the other guy. I'd rather it. But it's like, fuck, you can blow smoke up your own ass and say, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. But at the end of the day, you don't know until the second that you step into that cage. Yeah. And I'm happy to say, like, let's see what happens.
So but you weren't always like this. So like he was alluding to before, you know, you watched your older brother get choked out in his first session and you're kind of like, oh, well, he's done with this fighting shit. So that spark like didn't really exist within you back then. When do you think it first shifted for you? When do you think you first kind of saw momentum build?
So that I did a little bit of training, like after that, like after I seen that, my brother kept going back. I went and did a bit of training and I sparred a few times. And then when I sparred,
what kind of training? Like just
jiu-jitsu.
Just jiu-jitsu.
Just jiu-jitsu. But the jiu-jitsu gym that we were at, they had some MMA fighters. So every now and then they would put some gloves on and just spar.
Oh, cool.
So, but like they weren't teaching any kickboxing. Yeah. So I'd get in there and like I'd spar a few times.
And just eat shit.
And no, like I did like honestly I did all right. And all the coaches were always like, oh man, like you're learning really quickly. Like, did you do any kickboxing or anything before? No, not really. Did you do any jiu-jitsu or wrestling before? I'm like, I played footy. You know, I played rugby.
So no.
Yeah, so no, not really. I was rough. And then so when people kept like telling me, oh, you're good, you can fight, I was like, oh, maybe I can. And because I used to get into a lot of fights, like outside of the ring, I used to get in plenty of fights. So I was like, oh, well, I think I can do this. So it wasn't like I want to do it. It was, well, I think I can do it, so why not?
You had the talent.
You know, yeah. It was more like that for me. And then that gym got burnt down.
What?
Yeah. This guy he got cut because he got kicked out of the gym, came down, burned the gym. Long story.
Wait, so he got kicked out. You don't get to glaze over that, bro. He got kicked out of the gym.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
I'm not naming names, but
you don't have to name anyone.
Why did he get kicked out of the gym?
Yeah.
Because he couldn't, look, when you've got a gym around Western Sydney, like in those areas, and you've got all these Arabs that come through, a lot of them have huge egos. Yeah. Yeah, when they've got these huge egos, they can't let them go. They get tapped out sometimes by someone or they get put on by someone and they just start issues. And I remember the coach back then, there was like a group of guys that just were a bit annoying at the gym and he'd kicked one of them out, and then when that guy said, well, if I leave, you know that 5 other people are going to leave. He was like, okay, no worries. Yeah. Go. They left the gym and then they started calling up the gym back and saying, well, you're in our area, you've got to pay up. And then they...
Oh, and like some gangster shit.
Yeah. Really? This is some gangster shit. Like these guys weren't kids. Yeah. You know? And then they came back and then the gym got they did a drive-by on the gym. And when they did a drive-by on the gym, it was like metal,
like pellets.
It wasn't like a bullet. It was like a rubber. I think it was something else, but it wasn't like a bullet. It wasn't a BB gun either, because they shot at it and it put holes in the window of the gym. Fuck. And one of the shots got our coach in the head. Yeah. Split his head open.
Fuck, no way. Yeah, so there's people inside while they're doing the...
Yeah, he was the only one. He was locking up and leaving.
Right. So it's obviously very well timed.
Yeah. They knew what time people lock up and go there. And then the cops even came that night and, you know, people don't say anything. The cops came, but there wasn't much that they could do. And then within a week later, the gym was burnt to the floor. Guess they weren't fucking around.
You would have been fuming.
Oh, well, like my brother was fuming, like
Right.
because like he had found like his thing that we trained there for like 6 months. Oh, my brother trained there for like 6 months. I trained there for like probably a month or two. I wasn't like fuming. I was like, oh shit, look, so where are we gonna go now? Oh shit, where are we gonna go now? Like, you know, like at the same time, my theory on things like that is if a situation like that happens and you get shot at, should have been handled before it got to that stage. You know what I mean? No matter, like, I always say this: if you're a gangster, if you're this or that, and someone does some gangster shit like that to you, you should go back and make sure you do some gangster shit back, because that's who you are. You know what I mean? If you're a civilian, if you're a business owner, and someone fucking shoots your fucking gym up, best thing to do, honestly, is call the police, because you're a civilian. And this guy was a civilian in this case.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy.
No,
that's
he was 100% a civilian, but he stuck to the street code of what the boys say, and it is right. Like, we gave him a lot of praise for that as well, like not doing that. But at the same time, it's like, well, so what do? Do you pick up your family and do you move states? Because that's what it ended up leading to. Yeah. But, you know, like, you can't just get up and run. No matter what the situation is.
It's a tough position to be in, man. Yeah, it is. If someone shot at my business, I gotta be fucking shitting bricks.
Mate, so many.
I don't advocate for that.
Look,
street life.
I think it is too, because you said there's been like all these shootings and stuff going on. Yeah. Like in the areas, but like if someone did something like that to my gym, it would scare me in the sense of I would be scared that it would be someone from
the gym,
my gym or something like that. Like that's all I would worry about. But luckily enough, like our gym in that sense never had any trouble like that. All the boys have always like been pretty cool. Yeah.
So you guys find a new gym, build more momentum, keep training. How did Thailand come into the picture for you guys?
So when my brother didn't have a gym anymore, and he wanted to like go around and train, him and another friend of his, him and two of his friends from that same gym that got burnt down, they were like, well, we got no gym at the moment, what are we going to do? They went to Thailand. Right. They were like, in the time that like things are going to get sorted or whatever, or we come back, we don't have a gym, let's go to Thailand for a bit. So my brother went to Thailand for 3 months, lived there, trained there, did the whole Thai thing.
Like the whole Muay Thai.
Yeah, to learn, because he didn't have like know any stand-up or learn any stand-up, he just wanted to kind of do that. Did that for a few months, and then he came back, and then he started traveling every couple of months to go, like, come here, go back. And when he'd come back here, didn't really have a gym. We'd train a bit with, like, a boxing coach. We'd train a little bit with here. And it was kind of so unorganized that he had to keep going back. He never found, like, a home. And that's when the idea for the gym came up, and we wanted to open up Australian Top Team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big jump, though, to go from, like, did he have any fights over there in Thailand?
No. Oh, yeah, he had one fight. Like, we didn't have any experience, and that's why we copped a lot of criticism. And that's why we did cop a lot of shit, because we didn't have the experience to open up a gym. We were just like two brothers that were like, oh, let's open up an MMA gym. And I'm sure that everyone thought, oh, these guys are just going to open up and they're going to be gone within a year or two. Yeah. I think a lot of people had that on us, but we didn't have any experience, but we never needed to. We went and got coaches. The coaches were there we weren't the coaches of Australian Top Team for the first 6 years. Until I got myself to a better level, I didn't even coach at my own gym. You know, we got a brown belt jiu-jitsu coach.
I think that plays testament to like the amount that you emphasize on quality at Australian Top Team. Because looking back on it now, the name Australian Top Team echoes throughout the MMA community. Yeah, people hear Australian Top Team and there's fucking respect on the name. Yeah. But the only reason that is because for those first 5 years, you weren't coaching because you didn't feel like you were good enough to do it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
I think that's what people kind of need to respect about it as well, because it would be very easy for me to, I wouldn't say easy, but I could go and open up a boxing gym and show people a 1-2 and charge whatever the fuck I wanted.
Yeah, and it happens a lot now. A lot of people now will, like, I've never seen them box in their whole life, and they'll come in, they'll open up a gym, and they'll be advertising and all, like, this guy's never had a fight, he's never done nothing. But like, I know myself, I never had that experience either, so I never like hate on it. I'm just thinking, what direction are they gonna go in? Yeah. And we had the wrong direction, but we ended up making it the right direction.
What makes you think you had the wrong direction?
Because we had no fight experience and we wanted to train fighters as well and have fighters in the gym. And I feel like to train fighters, I feel like fight experience does help. I don't feel like all your coaches need a fight, but I feel like there's gyms now that like have opened up where they'll have one boxing coach and it's for instance, a boxing gym, and they've never boxed in their life, and that's fine. But they also are trying to get people to fight out of their gym.
Yeah.
So they're trying to encourage people, coach people to fight.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, corner them.
Yeah, and corner them. But you've never fought.
Yeah.
So if you've never fought, how are you going to tell someone how to feel? That's my only issue. You know? And really, that's why I'm saying we had the wrong idea, because I thought like that at the start too.
Right.
You know, I thought I've got no fights, got no experience. Doesn't matter. Like, yeah, we're going to get some fighters and then I'm going to go bark at him and tell him what to do. But really, no. You need someone to understand what it's like to be there. Now, that's why I say not every coach, but you do need a coach there that understands what it's like, what the nerves are like, what the difference is between a woman and a man fighting. You know, what's the difference between Fahud and Hader fighting? What's the difference between myself and Alex fighting? Like, every person is different, and unless you've been in multiple corners, you can never understand how to quite connect with that person. And a lot of these guys will come, open up a gym, and then they'll say to people, yeah, we want to have fighters. Yeah, we've got this fighter, that fighter. And then they'll go to fight them. They'll put their fighters on, and there's a reason they've have 10 fights and 2 of them won, or maybe 1 of them won, or sometimes
and it
none
goes
of them
beyond that, because like, let's just say best case scenario for these people, right? They do get an amazing fighter. They just strike gold first time by chance. They get this amazing fighter.
And it happens.
It happens. What happens after that? When you've got these 15 to 18-year-olds that you're trying to train up, but you don't have the ring time, you don't have the cornering experience, you don't have all those elements to play into it. Like, how do you bring the next generation forward to keep that gym?
Well, that first person that was really good is going to end up leaving.
Of course.
They're 100% going to end up leaving.
100% they will.
You know, they're going to move on because they're going to realize themselves and it happens not in a bad way either. Like, sometimes they just realize I've leveled up and I'm a level above.
Yeah.
But do you mean what happens in terms for the coach to coach the next group of guys?
Exactly.
Or,
when they don't have that superstar anymore.
Well, they always play off, I had that superstar.
Right.
There's gyms around now that as well have had fighters and they'll still ride off the coattails of that first fighter that they had. And like, people fall for it.
Yeah.
People fall for it. So like in terms of like business, right, as long as they had that first superstar, they'll still be successful because they can just ride that forever. And the power of social media and the power of the internet
True.
is so strong.
I think it was Sez. I think Sez said that to me before. He said like he didn't train for 4 years or something like that, or didn't fight for 4 years. And when he came back, there was 15 to 18-year-olds at ATT that could fucking lay it on him and really give him a hard time.
Yeah.
And I think that's testament to the work you and your brother are doing.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't just stop at this current generation that you're going. Like it's the guys under that are even scarier.
One thing that we're learning, like this year is 10 years that we're open. 10 years that we're
Congratulations.
open. Thank you very much. One thing that we're learning now is to invest into the younger guys. Before, when we first started, we'd have like a good fighter, superstar. We'd focus a lot on him, but it was always a team feel still. Now we're kind of saying like, you know what? The older guys, they've got that rhythm. They've got like our team knows how to run now. You know, with the loyal guys that we've got at the gym, like they know what time sparring is. They know how it all works. So it gives me and my brother more time to help out the younger guys. There's some 14 and 15, like it's not even 16, 17-year-old kids. Now I'm looking at there's 14 and 15-year-old kids. There's 14-year-old girls at my gym that I would put money on. Like I would put thousands of dollars on that would fuck up fully grown men. Like I've got a 14-year-old girl at my gym that if you told her to wrestle with a fully grown man, she would fuck him up.
Damn.
Right. And like it's so like it's rewarding to see with the younger guys so much more because you see them like so you see them just like a lump of clay when they first come in. And you just see them start getting their own style. They start having their own swag. They start seeing Farhood do some certain flashy moves. They'll see Alex do some flashy moves. They'll see me do a twister. They'll see my brother powering forward, and they'll try and emulate what all the older guys are doing, what all the senior guys are doing in our gym. And I think that's what helps our gym, at least.
Iron sharpens iron, man. At the end of the day,
the young kids, like, they'll get in and they'll spar with us, and like they go hard. Like we tell them, like, don't hold back. And like, I'm rude to some of the kids sometimes, like when I'm training them, but like I'm rude because like I treat them like my own little brother. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I've got those. Rude, bro. I just think it's honest.
Yeah, no, but like, you know, like I treat them like my little brothers, as in the way I talk. You know what I mean? Okay. Like, oh, get the fuck up! What are you doing, you idiot? Yeah. Like, I'll say that to my own students, like my own kids, but they know how to take it and they know where it's coming from. You know, like me and my brother have very bipolar, opposite ways of training.
How does he train people?
My brother's very like he trains like people hard, but it tends to be like, I'm very nice to people that are in my jiu-jitsu and my kickboxing classes and stuff. Yeah. If you're in my MMA class, get ready to get fucking grilled. Like, I'm going to be the biggest cunt. Like, no one likes me. Like, they come in, they're like, oh, this guy's in a bad mood today. Go smoke something, like, come back. You know, they know that I'm in a bad mood sometimes. Yeah. And they don't want me around. But my brother, right, he's in a bad mood with the jiu-jitsu, the kickboxing guys. Comes to the MMA guys, is all sweet with them. Yeah. So it's that yin and yang that we've got. Like, he when he's hot, I'm cold. When I'm cold, he's hot. You know, vice versa.
So your brother kind of goes back and forth between Thailand. You guys establish the gym. And when do you kind of start taking? Because obviously, your brother found some success in fighting. Like, at one point, he was the number 1 ranked in Australia in 2 weight classes, I believe, right?
It was actually featherweight and bantamweight. He was the number 1 ranked guy. He had a lot of like easier fights, built his record up, and then the 2 fights that kind of put him on the map were he went over to China. He fought the number 1 Chinese bantamweight over there. Guy missed weight by 5 kilos. My brother still fought him. Still submitted him in the second round. Then he came back here and he fought for the eternal bantamweight title. When he fought for the eternal bantamweight title, he fought Shannon McClellan, who was, I think, like 9-2. Well, he had a really good record, and he was like one of the top ranked guys at the time as well. My brother beat him.
I just want to show people what Ash looks like. Sian, can you put up a photo of Suman Mokhatarian?
Just try not to get one of him like getting beaten up. Get a good photo of him.
I just want people to kind of Ashkan, and then first one there. Let's just pull up like his UFC photo or something. He's a scary motherfucker. It's any one of those, that's fine.
But that's him at like 56 kilos.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, that's him like
just zoom in on that
so much. Like, no one thought he'd ever make that weight. Weight.
Did you say 56?
That's 56 kilos.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, that's 56 kilos.
Holy shit.
We can't zoom in.
Just full screen it.
That's why he like...
That is full screened.
He should have never fought at that weight, to be honest with you. Yeah. He should have never ever fought at that weight. That weight ruined him. It depleted his body.
Of course, man. Like, I mean, look, that's the leanest he's ever going to get, right?
My brother, when he first started training MMA, he was 86 kilos, 88 kilos or something, but like muscle. If you see my brother now, like, he's muscly. Yeah. And he's like shredded still, but he's walking around at like 78 kilos.
My only point is, bro, is that like to go up into a cage against that guy, I would be shitting my pants.
I'll tell you this, at 56 kilos, I would have loved to fight him at that weight. Like, because he couldn't perform like himself. Right. So it wasn't like he could look as intimidating and as scary as he wanted to at that weight. But at flyweight, he wasn't himself. A bantamweight, featherweight, my brother was very imposing, but that's where the weight cutting comes in, and that's where like our lack of experience, and also our eagerness to get into the UFC. Yeah. It was either fight at 56 kilos or don't fight at all. Yeah. So he did the crazy thing of dieting for 16 weeks straight, to make a weight class that like he didn't know if he could actually ever physically make, because making bantamweight is so hard for him. He just pushed it to another limit at flyweight.
And it's so dangerous because I've spoken about it, quite frequently. So if you have heard this before, I do apologize. But that dehydration of the body, the dehydration of the brain, and then 24 hours later to go and
get knocked in the head,
head kicks, get choked out, get depleted of oxygen, exerting yourself.
Yeah,
like dude,
it's not smart. It's not smart. But unfortunately, it's like part of the game, because I fought it in the UFC at featherweight, but I should have always been at bantamweight. Right. And like I can cut to bantamweight very easily without a big dehydration as well. In the Ultimate Fighter House, I was walking around at 68 kilos and like eating well, but trying to keep weight on, but like still trying to keep my weight somewhere where I can drop to 66 really easily. Bantamweight's where it should be at, but when I was fighting in the UFC, we weigh ourselves the day of our fight, right before the fight.
So you're cutting and then going straight into the cage?
No. So I cut the day before. I was 66 kilos. The next day when we had the fight, when we're warming up in the back to go out and punch on, they bring a scale and they make you weigh in again. And the reason for that is they just want to see how much weight you're putting on overnight. It's just for their own information.
Right.
So when I went to like weigh in and I weighed in on my UFC debut, I fought at 66. So I weighed in at 66. The next day I was only 70 kilos.
Right.
So I gained 4 kilos. And some people would say, oh, how'd you gain 4 kilos? But that's nothing in comparison to what some people
jump up a lot more.
So they had weighed in my opponent before they weighed me in. So on the sheet, it already had his name, how much he weighed. I weighed 70.6 kilos. He weighed 79.8 kilos. So I looked at that and I was like, wow, this guy weighs 9 kilos more than me at this very time right now that I'm going to go fight. Yeah, so I was like, shit.
We keep jumping around.
Those black genetics.
Yeah. We keep jumping around a little bit.
So, I get off track.
Yeah, no, me too. That's why the podcast works. So where we left it. So your brother goes, fights in China, wins,
comes back here, wins, beats Shannon, and then
But where's your career at this point in time? Because obviously
I wasn't fighting.
Still at this point you're not fighting.
I'd had some fights. Yeah. So when my brother first went to China and we fought on the same card together that day.
Oh, so you fought in China as well?
Yeah, I fought in China.
How did you go in China?
Yeah, I won all my fights overseas in China as well. So that day that my brother fought, he won with a heel hook. I won by the decision against another guy there. And then when we came back, after that China fight, I said that I was going to take a break. Yeah. I said I didn't want to fight for a while because like the fight was good and the fight was fun. But like, again, like it was a year in between every fight. I was only doing it because like, they were like, oh yeah, you should have one more. Why not? I didn't fight for 2 years after that fight, and we just focused on my brother. When my brother got back and he fought Shannon, and then he was on the UFC radar. When he got signed by the UFC.
So how does that relationship grow? So obviously your brother's got some international claim now, and he's being recognized.
I was annoying the matchmakers, just emailing them myself.
Yeah,
literally. I got the matchmaker's email, Mick Maynard, and I just started emailing him every day myself.
Yeah.
I started saying my brother wants to fight for the UFC. What do we have to do? 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 They said drop down to flyweight, get a fight there, and I might sign you. Mm-hmm. And then we're like, all right, no worries. So we went and got a flyweight. He fought a flyweight one, and then the next day, literally, Mick Maynard sent us a contract.
Fuck. Yeah, and so how are you guys feeling?
Oh, that was wild. That was wild to us. Like it worked.
Yeah.
Like it worked.
Yeah.
I annoyed someone enough that he signed him.
Just kept knocking on that door.
Just pretty much just kept knocking until someone said yes.
Yeah.
And then he said yes, and then when he said yes, a few guys in the UFC were like, when are you fighting again? And I was 5-0 at that time. As a professional. So they're like, when are you fighting again? You don't want to fight in the UFC? If you're 5-0, you could fight in the UFC. And then I was like, nah, I'm not too interested. And then my brother was like, listen, just go have one more fight. And I'm like, nah, I want to focus on your fight. And he goes, just book your fight after mine. He goes, this way you can help me for the camp.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I can just do this, help him for the camp, and I don't really care. Like, if there's a fight, there's a fight. So I booked the fight 2 weeks after, and then he had his UFC debut. He lost his UFC debut. It was against John Moraga. A great fight. He was number 11 ranked at the time. Right after his fight, there was a lot of like eyes on me, obviously. Oh, like his brother just fought in the UFC. Now he's coming out. I was fighting on Hex. And I came into the fight real relaxed. And
Was
I
this
pulled
the
off
Hex fight?
Yeah, this is a TP.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pulled off the TP, and then everyone just started from there. Like, it went viral.
Yeah.
They showed my TP on Ariel Hawani's show.
And you, right before that, you'd nailed the twister as well, hadn't
No,
you?
the twister was after.
Oh, the twister was after?
Yeah. So I did that, and then I had that fight, and my brother was still with the UFC. Obviously, he was just helping me out with this, and he was taking a break after his UFC fight, and Hex had another show 2 weeks after I fought, or 3 weeks after I fought, in Perth. It was the first show that they were having in Perth again with the cage, because the cage ban was up. And they go, we really want you to fight. Your video's gone viral. You know, we've had so many hits on it. We've had so many requests on it. Can you fight again? And I was like, oh, yeah, all right, sweet.
But 2 weeks, man.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the thing. The weight was never hard for me to make.
Okay.
So, like, because I was fighting at featherweight, I was like, oh, just do a couple hot baths and, like, diet for a week.
Yeah.
And I was on weight. You know, so 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, they were like, yeah, fight again. I was like, yeah, sweet, let's do it. Did it. And then that's when I was making a laugh out of it all. Like, that's why I was like, I'm going to hit the twist. And then
Yeah, because you called it right before the fight. You had said
we're in the lobby. We're in the lobby of the hotel, and Frank Barker was walking past me. And when he was walking past me, he was like, "Oh, best of luck tonight, mate. I can't wait to see you smash it." I'm like, "Oh, Frank, I'm gonna hit a twister for you tonight." And he goes, "Mate, if you hit that, I'm gonna go wild. I'm gonna go wild." And if you see that video, like, you'll hear he went wild.
Well, let's fucking go. Let's play the video.
Okay.
Sian, can you pull up that video? Full screen it.
You know what I always think when I watch back at some of my old fights?
Yeah, it's the second one there.
Fuck, I should have had a better haircut.
Well, you came prepared today.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here? 10 minutes? What round was it? Do you remember?
First round.
All right.
I think it was like 3 minutes into the first round.
We'll just cut forward a little bit, Yanni, just for the viewers' sake.
My boy Sam Chan. He actually fought a couple of rounds. Oh, no, that's my reference.
No, Sian, go back.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, there you go.
To my left, fighting out of the red corner.
Just keep jumping forward, brother.
This man is even 5 wins.
Yeah, he
by
Sam
way
has
of
fought
submission. Fighting out of
he fought
Borneo,
that
Malaysia. Please welcome
Kaka France as well.
Oh, nice.
Chan.
But I was very confident that I'd beat Sam. Like, I knew that he wasn't on my level.
Yeah.
When we were all fighting. So that's why, like,
Ladies and
they
gentlemen,
were like, "Oh, why'd you let go of the rear naked choke? Why'd you go for the twister?" I'm like, I had that confidence in myself that, like, I should be able to put on an impressive performance against this
And on
guy.
top of that, man, Sian, can you just lower the volume a little bit? Just on that note, like, considering that you had just pulled off the TP the week before and that had gone viral, like you said, it was an aerial show, like, you probably felt a bit more pressure or, like, a bit more incentivized to kind of pull off something flashy again, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't have said it was pressure. I would have said, yeah, it was more like incentivized, because, like, I knew what it could do for me if I did something like a twister or like a TP. I knew that, like, after the first one, I didn't expect for the TP to be anything, to be honest with you, because it's something I pull off all the time. You know, like, I have a laugh about it.
Why do you think it went so viral?
Because it's never been done in professional. That's it. Literally, the move's not even that cool.
Right.
Because
It's a messy move, right? Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's not the
photograph
cleanest.
worthy.
Yeah. It's not like a picture perfect move.
Yeah.
Like, the twister is a picture perfect move. I got a perfect picture of this, but not the TP so much. So I was a lot happier to pull this off. You know, and against Sam as well, he was a little bit better on the floor. He was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, so, you know, he wasn't inexperienced on the floor. And Sam had a couple boxing fights right before he fought me, so I knew that he was just going to probably try and keep it standing and like
Whereas your specialty has always been jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I've never really been like big on the stand-up. I like throwing hands. I like punching on a bit, but I've never been like a full technical striker or anything like that. You know, I'll ball like that, throw a knee up the middle, wait for him to shoot.
Yeah.
So this position here, like I put my leg in, and I grab his wrist from the opposite side.
Yeah.
And when I started pulling his wrist down, I started reaching my left arm across his neck, and you'll see I get it right around his neck.
So he's given up his back very quickly here, which you must be loving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once I had my arm around his neck here, I knew I can just sink my left arm out, and I can grab his neck and I can finish it.
Yeah.
I'm putting a bit of pressure on here because I want him to roll, but I wasn't putting enough pressure for him to tap because I didn't want him to tap. See there? I've got it, but I'm like, fuck no. Let go of it, go to the lockdown on the leg, control the wrist, control the position a little bit. And we stayed in this position for about like, I think a minute.
Yeah.
Because he just kept holding onto my wrist. And I knew that if I can get my left elbow out, then that was the beginning to the end.
So at this point, you're very, very confident in what you can do. Like no matter how this goes,
When I was here, I said to myself, he's not going to get up without me submitting.
Yeah.
Even if I wanted to like just take his back,
Yeah.
and just choke him out, I'll probably put it there as well. I don't say that in like a cocky way, but like when I get to a position like this, I was very, very.
Well, this is where you're comfortable.
Yeah,
this is your home.
This is
When you're on the
my
floor.
niche, you know.
Yeah.
This is my niche. This is what I do. And this is like, if there was a one position in the fight where I was most confident, it would always be in this position on the floor.
I will warn people watching this, like this does get very painful to watch very soon.
You know what's funny? Knock on wood, I've never been twisted before.
Yeah.
But I would love to see what it feels like. Because I don't know. I won't even let someone practice it on me in case someone's going to take a photo.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
There we go.
Oh,
Crank the neck and his hip comes.
I can't watch.
And there we go.
That is so cruel.
He said that after when I spoke to him, he said that when I pulled on his neck, he said he tapped the moment and he felt his hip pop. He felt something pop in his hip, and then you'll see like I go over to him and just to like check up on him. And when I pick him up, he starts like kind of limping, and it was because his hip had popped out of place. I was like, you alright? Like, yeah, you're sweet. And then I tried to fucking parade the guy around the fucking cage like a fucking dickhead. Yeah, I felt bad, you know.
You can't.
Yeah, I never like to hurt anyone.
Alright,
But
so you can cut it there. Thank you.
yeah, I never like to hurt anyone. If you've seen any of my like other fights, like my thing is when I win, I go up and then kiss my opponent. Kiss it better, you know.
Honestly, man, that is such a like, and I don't mean this to degrade you in any way, but it's just such a mean position because your whole spine is just getting squeezed
from your neck
and pulled.
to down to your knee, like you're just twisting the whole body. You know, I suggest anyone who hasn't done jiu-jitsu, come down to ATT and do some jiu-jitsu. You know, or some sujitsu. But yeah, that's the one thing that like I've done from the beginning. The first day I walked into an MMA gym and wanted to do or ended up wanting to fight MMA, it was jiu-jitsu. So like even if I never fought MMA, I would have, once I fell in love with jiu-jitsu, I would have always kept doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that I'll keep doing even like after black belt, whatever. Like,
Did you look up to anyone like the Gracies or anyone like that, or what's the other guy's name? It'll hit me in a second.
In the Gracie family, the two people that I looked up to most were Henzo and Hickson Gracie. I know a lot of people Hoist Gracie, the guy that
well,
was
the whole
first in the
family
UFC.
is just...
The whole family is like incredible because of their jiu-jitsu, but I feel like the rest are a little bit soft.
John Danaher is the other guy I was looking for.
Oh, John's a beast too.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Gracies, Henzo and Hickson are my two favorite. They were the most like staunch, and I think they were the best two out of. I think Henzo was one of the best MMA fighters out of the Gracies. Even though he had a couple losses and stuff, but I think he was good because he was a good striker as well. Like come forward, bang. And Hickson is like a legend.
Yeah,
like Hickson's one person that if you could tell me to train with any one person in the world, it would be Rickson Gracie.
Really?
Yeah. He's the one person I would love to meet. I really wanted to fight his son, Kron. But honestly, and we were in the UFC at the same time at 145 at the same time. I tried to like call him out on Ryzen a few times as well before we were in the UFC. And the only reason I called him out was because I wanted to meet his dad. I wanted his dad to come into his corner. I'll punch on with him. I just wanted to meet his dad. Like literally, if I could meet him, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's very rare in any sport, man. Like you could maybe make a case for like the Schumachers or something like someone along those lines, but where you're looking at generations of just legends in the sport that completely revolutionized the whole thing.
Yeah, we've got now it's the next generation of legends that are going to come up. You know, like now, like right now, a lot of the people that are going to start watching MMA in the next couple of years are not even going to know about what Royce Gracie did back then and stuff. And it will always be in history, but they'll never quite have seen it. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, I'll never understand Muhammad Ali the same way someone would when they were in that era of time.
Of course.
You know, even Mike Tyson, I was just a little bit late for that. I couldn't understand what was happening. I wasn't at the era of that time. What you
can see is you can see the ripple effect that people like that had on.
Right.
So I'm like you.
I'm in the Conor McGregor generation.
Exactly.
You know?
Or the Jake Paul generation.
Yeah, the Jake Paul. Why not? I wouldn't put myself in the Jake Paul generation. That's the new generation.
That's the new generation. That's the TikTok generation.
But I love that shit. No, honestly, like all that TikTok stuff. Like I was talking to someone about this before. All these TikTokers are coming out and saying that they want to fight and they're asking for 100 grand, 50 grand, this and that. They're all clueless. They've all got no idea what's going on. But honestly, if there was a TikToker that would actually come and fight, and if he wanted to get paid and talk like proper numbers, like I was speaking a little bit to Luke Owen yesterday, who does a bit of podcasting and stuff like that. Yeah, Luke. I was speaking to them about some numbers, and I spoke to his manager about it.
Because he does a bit of that stuff, doesn't he? On like his YouTube and shit. He'll just randomly start boxing someone.
He'll randomly start boxing someone. He randomly started boxing Fahud once in Parramatta.
That's right. Yeah. It was Luke Owen. Yeah, you're right.
Look, everyone can say what they want. He's one person that like I'll actually say we'll do it. Yeah. I don't know if you watch TikTok. Like, have you seen that Mons guy?
Yeah, I know Mons.
He just like starts fights with everyone and this and that. We're trying to get Mons versus Luke Owen.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
It would be great. Luke Owen has said he'll do it. I've been trying to get a response from Mons, but I don't think he wants to.
Mons, we're calling you out right now.
Yeah, he look, legit Urban Fight Night. We can come out, we can put proper contracts, I can get you boys trained, we can have a fight camp. You guys want to make some money out of it. If you guys want to actually do it, you guys want to do an amateur fight, professional fight, exhibition fight, whatever you guys want to call it.
We'll do a face-to-face in studio here.
Yeah, we can do a face-to-face in the studio here, but you guys want to talk some digits, you want to talk some numbers, Urban Fight Night. Come down and we'll talk. I want to get the TikTok space into Urban Fight Night. Yeah. You know, you see Jake Paul's like, I say he's killing it. I don't care what anyone else says. I say he's killing it because to me, he's growing not the sport so much, but he's bringing more attention to the sport right now, which is very, very important in terms of fighter pay and things like that and things that he's helping with.
Well, he's making some very good points as well. You know, like MMA fighters don't get health insurance. You know? Oh, no, maybe?
He makes some good points, but he talks a lot of shit as well. We don't get health insurance in MMA. No, we don't. But when you're with the UFC, yes, you don't have like after insurance, but I was in the UFC for 2 years and I had 2 major surgeries and they paid for every cent.
Oh, really?
They paid for every cent of my surgery. They paid for every cent of my recovery. They paid for all my physio for 9 months.
Wow.
Here. Yeah. Like anyone can like the fighters, I don't know why they say things like that. I don't know why they come out and say we need private health. If I had a chipped tooth after my fight, I write it down on a piece of paper. They pay for everything. Now they didn't have to pay for my knee. I injured that at the Ultimate Fighter and that wasn't covered. Yeah, but they paid for it. Yeah. You know? I didn't expect.
And this is like when you're not really.
I was no one. Yeah. No one. And then I had my first UFC fight against Sadiq. and I had an injured elbow before I went into the fight, and it wasn't an injury that I had on fight week. It wasn't an injury that I had in fight camp. It was an injury that I had prior, and the UFC knew about it. And when I went into it and I had surgery and I needed surgery after, they did not have any issues with paying for it. They didn't I didn't even have to go back and forth in any emails. As soon as I told them, listen, I had this injury from before, I fought. I thought I was going to get cut after my first fight in the UFC. After that first fight in the UFC, I thought I was going to get cut. So I was like, they're not going to cover my insurance or my surgery. So my manager messaged them, and with no hesitation, they were like, yep. They booked me into a private hospital, and they paid for everything. I've had probably $60,000 in surgery that the UFC have paid for.
Fuck, really?
Yeah, I've had $60,000 that the UFC have paid for, and they didn't have they didn't have to cover it because people are saying we're not privately insured or taken care of, but they did. And that's why I appreciate it, and I don't like fighters saying things like that about them not caring about people or CT. If I said I had a head injury, they're a good company like that. Yes, revenue and things sharing, maybe that they can give some fighters some more money, but if we need to get taken care of, we're taken care of. Fight week, what do we pay for? Literally nothing. I told the UFC I need a massage. They sent someone to my room. I'm sitting in the hotel. Oh, I need my haircut. They'll send someone to my room.
Fuck, really?
Yeah,
So this whole call out on fighter pay, not fighter pay, but this whole call out on the health insurance side of things, and the UFC taking advantage of fighters and not taking care of them physically, let's say is bullshit.
Fighters pay, you're worth as much as the seat, the ass that's on the seat watching you.
Yeah.
And
that is fair. And to be fair, that is fair.
Yeah, well, someone will come to me and say, oh, I want $100,000 to fight. Okay, why do you want $100,000 to fight?
Yeah, where am I supposed to pull that $100,000 from?
On what basis do you want that $100,000? Oh, well, this is who I am. This is how popular I am. Well, in terms of views, how many views do you bring? Well, I don't know. I've never fought before.
Yeah.
Well, how do we know? Oh, no, I've got this many people on my Instagram. It doesn't necessarily mean people are going to pay $50, $60 to watch you fight. And if you're not bringing views, then what are you bringing? An entertaining fight. Well, if no one wants to watch it, then it's not that entertaining. Now, for me to fight in the UFC, my first fight, I got paid 10 and 10 US for the fight. I got paid.
Wait, when you say 10 and 10, what do you mean?
10,000 for the fight, 10,000 for the win, but I didn't win, so I only got 10,000 for that. But I had $3,500 from Reebok, which is my sponsor. We have a fight week that they give you $2-3 grand fight week just for spending money.
Fuck.
That they don't put in your contract.
Yeah.
They pay for your flights for your coaches and yourself as well to go over. They pay for your room and everything. But I'm getting paid that. And there was some other little bonus. So let's say that I was making 18 grand US.
Yeah.
I'm open about saying it. A lot of people I don't want to talk about my pay or whatever.
Yeah.
I got paid 18 grand US for my first UFC fight. That was more than I was going to get anywhere else in the world. So if we're talking about
on top of that,
pay,
man, most companies, most fully formed companies that have been around for 20, 30, 40 years don't take care of their staff like that.
No one takes care of their staff the way the UFC do. And when I say staff, I don't just mean fighters, I mean everyone. Everyone is taking
from the
care
physios, from the people that clean the floor to the commentators.
And let's remember, they fly out 300-400 people at a time. They have their own flights and they've got their own shipping containers of things that they're bringing. They have all these people that are on the payroll and they're paying.
Yeah.
But they paid me what they paid me. And then, but like I said, that's more than I was going to get anywhere else in the world, any other promotion. After my fight was finished, I don't expect anything from them. Them paying for my surgery was real big.
Yeah.
I opened up my email one day and it's, okay, thank you very much for your service fighting for the UFC at this and this card. I'm reading it. Dana White has sent you this check, just as a part of being a part of a good card, and there were so many viewers on the card. So they sent me an extra $5,000 US.
Fuck.
That again isn't in my contract.
Yeah.
After I fought in Korea, I got another $3,000 US that wasn't on my contract again. Yeah, just for putting up a good fight.
And it would have been very
he was
easy.
Like, he was like, if it was between your fight and another fight for fight of the night, we went with the other fight, but here's an extra $3,000. I got a letter from Dana White, and like, I know he doesn't probably write it himself, but he signed it himself at the bottom. They send it. Again, fighters don't talk about those extra little bonuses that they
And it
get.
would be very easy for Dan to sit on a soapbox and say, "Oh, look at all these things I'm doing."
He's never said it. No, he's never said it.
He's never public
Never
about
said
it.
Never
yeah.
said it.
Yeah, that is a fair perspective. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like,
There you go.
like I said, you're gonna get a UFC fighter or
So
someone
obviously
even here talking about it.
obviously now you're coming from a fresh perspective of not only just a fighter, someone who's been in the cage, or just a coach, or someone that's helped other people get into the cage, but you're coming from the perspective now as a promoter. So you've obviously established the Urban Fight Night. You've obviously grown it from where it started off to the stage it is in now. And I was at the most recent card, and it was exceptional for an event in Sydney. Actually, no, just for an event in Australia, an MMA event in Australia, bro. Like, what you guys are doing is exceptional.
Yeah,
It's very high standards.
we got a good crew, but it's taken us 28 shows to try and get it right. You know?
Yeah, but of course it is. And it's not going to stop at 28 shows.
No. But like I said, every show we're getting better and we're learning more and more
Exactly.
new things. You know,
So-
I'm 28 years old. Done 28 shows.
There you
By
go.
the time I'm 50, I'll hopefully have done 150, 200 shows,
Yeah.
300 shows maybe.
So do you think your experience in the UFC and seeing the standard at which they take care of their fighters and seeing the standard of their production and seeing having more insight into the actual logistics of how things got done, do you think that helps you when
100%.
Yeah.
Because like just seeing what they need in terms of like a promotion and what they use and what's important, what's useful, and what actually matters. You know what I mean? Me being a fighter, I know like what I want when I go to a weigh-in. I know what I want when I go to a show. So in that aspect, I'm taking care of. But then seeing how the UFC do it on such a larger scale just makes you level up. Like just those little bits. Like now every fight, before the fights, I make sure that I bring the fighters in and we do like that little photo shoot where we get proper photos now to make the posters better and this and that. Like before it was like, hey, just send us a photo off your phone. We're just going to get some poster photos up there and like smack them on. We're getting better with the overall like shaping of the show.
Yeah.
You know, and the UFC really helped with that, being able to see it firsthand.
Yeah.
And see how they fly their crew around.
Well, you look at the Instagram page now, man, and it looks like a full-on proper, like a fight. Like I would look at that and I'd go, oh yeah.
Chalisa for that.
Yeah.
Chalisa, Instagram girl, like she's good. Like she's on everything on social media.
Constantly posting, constantly engaged.
And she knows like every day like what to post. Like I don't even have to tell her what to do anymore. She handles everything on their Instagram page, and she's a general manager at my gym too, so that helps.
There you go.
So yeah, but like I said, we got a good, like after 28 shows or whatever, we've one by one been finding out what works for us, having people like Chalisa on board, having other people behind the scenes, having like the camera guys that with Paris Production that we've been using, they've really helped the show a lot, like in terms of the production of the show, like leveling up. If you've watched our last 2 or 3 shows, like maybe from the time that we went to Luna Park and we've had the shows there, if you look at our production, it's like something completely different to what we had before. And that's really important for us moving forward to show if we've got the quality of fights on, we need the stage to be right for the fighters.
Yeah.
So now it's, again, I want to add more. I want to do maybe
And
like
how are
the
you
press
finding-
conferences.
How are you finding these fighters? How are you finding? Because obviously you're going to have every Tom, Dick and Harry hit you up and say, hey, get me a fight. Get me a fight.
We've had some funny ones. We've had some funny random people come and like every now and then you come across some fighters that are like legit. They come across, and then some of them not so much. But how do we come across them? It's really word of mouth between the coaches at the start. Okay. Like I've got a good relationship with all the other coaches.
At different gyms, like
Team Parash and all those guys. like I'm friends with Joey, Emil, and like all those guys that I fight on the event as well. Then like recently we've had the SPG guys coming on board. They're a new gym that has been around for like 2-3 years, but now they're new to Urban. But they used to train with the Team Parosh guys. Like they're affiliated. So because you hear and speak to the gyms, you see the coaches at the jiu-jitsu comps, you see them at this event or that event, you're like, oh, you should fight over on my show. But there's a community that we have, and like it's a community that's got a lot of rivalries between the teams and the coaches and stuff like that. But it's still like, honestly, MMA in New South Wales is kind of in a good spot right now. As much as there's no shows or anything going on, a lot of the coaches are really coming together to try and help Urban even. So like, there's a lot of people that are supporting it at the moment. I'm really, really thankful for that, because like I said, for a long time, I didn't get a lot of respect from a lot of these coaches. A lot of the older guys didn't want to deal with me as well. Yeah. Being like a young Arab kid that just kind of came in and like fuck their scene pretty much.
You know what, man? Like you're providing value at the end of the day, and you're helping put these new and up and coming fighters on the map. I can't tell you the amount of fighters that I personally discovered, and I like to think I'm someone that's fairly in touch with this space. You know, like I trained at Australian Top Team. I talk to a lot of these fighters behind the scenes, obviously with the podcast and whatnot, and I talk to promotions. But just going through the Urban route and seeing like all the people that you put forward, and seeing an event and watching these people fight live, you know, gets me so much more invested as a fan. Yeah. And you're doing a favor to all these gyms. You're doing a favor to all these fighters at the end of the day.
That's what I think some people don't realize as well. These platforms, like the Urban platform, these platforms are like a real good platform for these guys to make a name for themselves. Forget me or forget trying to help me or anything. These are really good opportunities for them. Like I said, I went and fought on Hex in Melbourne, and I did great things for Hex in terms of promotion because of my TP and my Twister. But that's what got my career to where it was, you know? I fought for free. I didn't get paid for those fights, you know?
Plus you had the hassle of going to Melbourne.
Yeah, but I fought those fights in Melbourne on that show because I knew that it was a good platform, that if I pull something off, this could take me to another level. And now we've got like the platform of Urban Fight Night, which we can hopefully take more fighters to the UFC. If you look at the list of fighters that have gone to the UFC from Urban Fight Night, I think a lot of people speak, or like they'll talk about Alex Hitman Georges, but Jamie Malaki was the UFN lightweight champion on our event. Joshua Kulabau was the featherweight champion UFN. Nadia Kassem, she was the 52 kilo champion in the women's division there. Then on our show, we had Bam Bam fight on our show. We had Tyson Pedro fight on our show, all before they fought in the UFC as well. So all these guys, like Bam Bam, like I said, you see him on like the biggest stage. 2 fights before he was in the UFC, it was on Urban. Same thing with Tyson Pedro. We had his 3rd pro fight on our show, and then the next one he went and he fought in the UFC.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about before with the gyms. You're not just riding the coattails of one fighter that made it into the UFC. You've got the extensive resume right in front of you.
That's right. And they do, and it's going to be more.
So I see some fighters. I'm not going to name specific people, but I do see some fighters sign these.
Call them out.
They'll fuck me up.
Yeah, I got your back. Don't worry about that. I got your back. If they'll fuck me up too, I'll just get someone else on them.
Yeah, exactly. We got a whole gym to go through, right?
The bigger guys. Yeah. What do you
but I see a lot of these guys sign these exclusive deals in particular, where they'll only fight with one specific promotion and none others. Do you think that creates a problem, especially for an amateur?
Oh, an amateur? 100% it creates a problem for an amateur. And why should an amateur limit themselves to experience? Why should you limit yourself to one stage when realistically, like I said, the word experience doesn't exist on one stage? I tell people it's not just my stage you should fight on. I tell my own fighters you should fight on other shows. But why? Because I want them to be sometimes put in other territories, hostile territories. It's about learning. It's about growing. It's about them getting better. As an amateur, you need to fight as much as you can, as often as you can, wherever you can. Not just on one promotion. As professionals, I think it is a bit different. I feel like exclusive contracts right now are a bit silly because like we're in Australia. Like I said, opportunities like don't come that often. So we got to kind of try and take any opportunity of what we've got. If you're signed exclusively to one promotion and then let's say you don't get matched on that promotion for that period of time, and then another promotion comes and says, hey, look, we've got a fight for you. This could really help your career, progress your career. Well, why should you not do that if it's not the UFC?
Yeah.
If you're not getting paid that amount of money, like there's non-exclusive contracts with ONE FC. If ONE FC can do a non-exclusive contract, then they're a big multi-international company.
Yeah, I'd say they're I'd say they're second biggest.
I think that look, Eternal have been signing fighters exclusively, and I understand that as professionals. Sometimes when you get to a certain level of your career, they want to not manage them, but they want to keep a pool of fighters that they can keep using. And I understand that and I get it. I would think it would be a bit of an issue if it was amateurs though.
Right.
You know, and like how long are you going to commit yourself to? But even Eternal, like they've got fighters exclusively signed to them. For instance, Blake Shepherd, and he just fought on Open Fight Night, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just pop on my text.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey guys, you wanna let one of your fighters on? Nah, but honestly, Cam and Ben that are behind Eternal, they're cool. I've got my fighters that fight.
So you guys have a good relationship.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything bad about them at all. There's like those guys, they're running a good business. They're good.
Nothing against the promotion. Look, I think I'm on the same line with you in the sense that the more promotions and the more fights we can get for Australians in particular.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say the more promotions. Okay, and the reason I say that only, and people will come out and say, "Oh, you say no promotions because you want it for yourself." No, because some of the fucking promoters in Australia are dumb as fuck.
Yeah,
right. They're stupid, and they actually do more damage to fighters' careers than they do good.
No, thank you for correcting me on that. I don't think that's what I meant to say. Maybe I was leaning more towards more events, more fights. More,
100%.
That's what I meant by promotions.
Look, if I had the fighters, as in like we had a bigger pool of fighters in Sydney, I would do more events. I will do events down to the demand.
Right.
If you kind of get me. Because I can only do so much right now in Sydney when fighters, they don't want to fight. The same fighters don't want to fight 10 times a year. You know what I mean? I've got to use the one fighter. Maybe they might fight once or twice a year. Some fighters might be active and fight 3 times.
And where I will give you credit again is that obviously with COVID and everything, it was very hard to get fights last year. You know, like there's a couple boxing events here or there. Yeah. I know Darwin fought and Jacinta fought on those cards. But there wasn't much going on for the UFC scene or the MMA scene rather in particular.
Yeah.
So when you did have the opportunity in December to have the card, you guys did a lot of fights. You gave as many fighters as an opportunity as possible.
Yeah. Well, we gave it, look, we were sold out 3 weeks out from the show. And then people were like, don't book any more fights like that I was with. And I was like, why? I'm like, there's fighters out there that are asking me to fight.
And haven't fought in like 2 years.
and if I can get them to fight, I'll get them a fight, and if they can do it, we'll do it. I was like, why should we? They're like, oh, the show is gonna go for too long, and I'm like, well, at least someone's getting their money's worth.
Yeah,
like the last show that we had, we had 15 fights. We've had a fight show with 24 fights.
Fuck.
On one of the opens, and like everyone's like, oh, it's too much. I don't want to watch all the fights. That's fine. But for like $60, $70 that you're paying for a ticket, there's other shows that we've had in Sydney that have got 5 fights or 6 fights of the event. Like that sometimes feels like it's a little bit too short.
Yeah.
At least with this, you're getting your money's worth. If you want to watch people keep punching on, you can watch people keep punching on. And you know what
the funny thing was? Because I was there live, it was like, I'd like, all right, I'm going to watch this fight and then I might just walk out on the next one, like to get a drink or whatever. Yeah. And then the next one would come. I'm like, fuck, I can't miss this. You don't know what you're going to miss.
Yeah, this next show, like I'm so excited. Like I'm super excited for the next show and the potential for the next show. There's some things that I'm working on. Like there's some things I won't announce because like is in terms of we're working on another venue right now. So I won't announce what venue that is.
Mm-hmm.
But we're working on another venue because obviously now that coronavirus is around, but everything's kind of opened up. We can have bigger events now.
Touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood. If we could have a bigger event, I think it will be this March 12th one, and that's why I've made sure that I can maybe secure a new venue, which can allow more tickets and more freedom, and just create a better atmosphere at this next event. But yeah, Darwin and his opponent Michael Barber are gonna headline the event. So in case you've never seen Michael Barber fight,
I have not.
Yeah, bro, Michael Barber, he's a tough guy. He comes forward, southpaw.
All right.
But yeah, Michael's a beast. Yeah. Michael's very similar to Darwin. Comes forward, throws hands, takes damage, but like Darwin has that one hitter quitter power.
Yeah,
that, like, it's just scary. And like Michael's one of those guys, he'll walk forward, and like I don't know if he'll walk forward on Darwin, which is what makes it interesting. He's crazy. He's a madman. Like he asked for this fight.
Yeah.
No one asked to fight Darwin.
Yeah.
No one asked to fight Darwin, and Michael was specifically asked for this fight. Came off a big fight, a big win on Eternal. He beat their previously number 1 ranked guy. So now we're bringing him over to Urban, and these guys are gonna. I'm telling you right now, this fight will be very, very violent. If it's not violent, I'll give you your money back. Like, there is no way this fight can't be violent.
It's just two titans going head to head against each other. These unstoppable forces.
Yeah. Darwin's one of those people that like when he goes in there, he throws to like it's not even bad intentions. It's like he's throwing everything to murder you, like to kill you. And
those sound like horrible intentions.
And like Michael's one of those guys that he just doesn't blink, doesn't get phased, you know, and he'll just keep coming forward, and like he puts a pace that's very, very hard for fighters to handle. But again, Darwin's got that power that not many people can handle. So will it be the pace pressure of Michael Barber, or will it be the power?
Suman, are you the Dana White of Sydney?
I'd like to think so. No. I'd like to think so. But I wouldn't say that.
The flair you have and the relationship you have with all your fighters and the amount you care and the amount you invest back into it, you know, like I'm seeing a lot of overlap.
Yeah, I don't know. Would you think that Dana White cares about all his fighters?
I would.
No, he does. I've met him. I personally, like, I had dinner with him when we finished up the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, like not with just me and him.
Yeah, but still.
It was like a group setting and stuff, but I got to talk to him a little bit, and that's where I really got to meet him, and he's cool. He's just like every other guy. Everyone that talks shit about him online is... If he was your friend, trust me, like you'd like it.
Yeah, I think Jake Paul's kind of been locked out of the club, and so he has to. Yeah,
he has to. But look, he's someone like Dana White's someone that like I really, really look up to. One of my dreams now, like, is not so much to fight for the UFC or anything. I would love to work with the UFC or for the UFC, doing something with them. Like if I could have a matchmaking job there, if anyone sees me, need another matchmaker from Australia. But yeah, I'd love to do something like that with the UFC and work with them. But yeah, I've heard that a lot. Like people call me the Dana White of Australian MMA. I'm just the young guy that's kind of still doing it. Like I started doing it young and I'm still doing it, and I still got like by the time I'm 40, how much more am I gonna be able to do in this sport? And I think the last 2 years I've really, really like kind of slowed down with everything else apart from urban. Because of everything that's been going on. But like now that it's like the 10-year reunion of a 10-year anniversary of Australian Top Team, this year I'm more motivated than ever to take everything to another level. Like, not just Urban Fight Night, not just Australian Top Team, not just myself, all the fighters and
You're very much someone that believes in community and very much someone that believes in giving back to people. Yeah. Do you think there's any avenues for you to do that with Urban?
Well, I've been thinking about that. Like, I was speaking to a few people on TikTok because, like, I've been TikToking lately. I've been a TikToker lately. I've been, like, on all the TikToks.
You dancing and shit on there?
No dancing or anything. I'm just putting up, like, some fight videos, having a laugh and, like, you know, I'm making fun of myself mainly in some of the TikTok videos. But I've seen a lot of these gifting, like people do these battles and they gift, and then people are raising crazy money. People are making thousands a week. And then they're coming on TikTok and they're saying, oh, guys, gift me. Like, let's go. Let's battle this guy. They're working up their rankings and they're saying, come, I'm going to donate half of my money to charity. And then they're not donating anything to charity. They're not showing receipts to charity. Yeah,
so they're just using the exposure that comes with TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok is one of the most toxic. It's fun. I'm not going to lie. But it's one of the most toxic platforms at the moment because...
Well, it's fun because it is toxic. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. But the whole gifting thing and like people like sending all these gifts and for nothing, for people like kind of like dancing in front of a camera and stuff. It's cool. Like if it's proper content, like I understand and you just want to gift them, like that's fair enough. But then people that are saying, oh, we're doing this for charity, it really rubs me the wrong way.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. So lately what I've been thinking about is trying to get the TikTok community and space involved with Australian Top Team. And Urban Fight Night as well, to kind of see what charities we can help. Now, I already said, like, I don't care about people gifting my page or other pages. I have no idea how I want to start this, but I'm willing to put my own money up because it's charity at the end of the day. If you want to do something for charity, it shouldn't have to be something that someone gave you to give away. It should be something from your own heart that you want to give away. So if there's any TikTok people out there that want to take me up on that, I'll put out $5,000 for any charity of choice, myself personally for my money, as part of Urban Fight Night as well. And then we can give the money away on March 12th. Even I'll put up the first 5,000. If the TikTok community want to, I don't know, start something, find which together, like we can find a charity that everyone's kind of happy with. You know, not everyone's happy with, but we can get some rankings, get some votes, maybe start some polls. I want to be able to do something where we actually give that money to charity. You know, I've seen so many people say they're giving money to charity lately. I want to actually do it. So I thought March 12th would be a good time, you know, find a charity to maybe just help out the community and stuff like that as well. It comes back around.
Idea.
It's karma.
It's a brilliant idea.
It's karma for me. Like, not karma. I don't know what the word so much for it would be, but you have to do good things in life, and you'll always receive them.
Well,
back.
I think more than anyone, you would understand how lucky in life some people can get. You know, and I'm sure you worked very hard for everything that you got, and you know, you were put into the positions you were in because you were willing to work hard. But there is an element of luck to it as well.
150,000. There's so many people in the same spot as me. I worked 10 times, 30 times harder than me that have never gotten to the stage of where I've gotten to. Or there's people that are 50 years old right now. They've got gyms and they've never had a UFC fighter train out of their gym or anything. And we've had 4.
So the fact that you're willing to pay that luck back to other people, I mean, that's beautiful, man. And it's very humbling.
And a lot of people can say what they want about it. Like some people say, oh, it's fake, it's this, it's that. But realistically, right, I say this to everyone. You could even speak to my girlfriend about it. I say, if there's something that we can ever do to help other people, we should always do it. And money, I feel like, is one of those things that divides people. So I feel like something with a charity where people put their money in together and puts it towards a charity will make people feel better. You know, it's one of the most. I've watched the highlights recently for the last Urban, and my favorite moment in all the highlights is when you've got that camera on that one person that's getting their hand raised, and you can see the excitement and the happiness in their heart, in their eyes. When you see that, it's so rewarding.
You know where I really saw that, and I'm biased because he's been in studio, but Big Says.
Yeah, he was so happy. He worked so hard for it.
Can you pull up Big Says' Instagram, please? Or maybe Urban's Instagram would be better. I think it would be on there. You can tell it meant so much to him, and the fact that he hadn't fought in like.
But you see that joy, that joy that he had.
Yeah,
that's what I like seeing in charity. You know what I mean? Like that you can change or you can help someone.
Bro. Go Urban Fight Night. Just search UFN.
It's got a whole bunch of fat photos of him there.
I just want to pull this up. Big shout out to Big Says, because honestly, man.
Big Says.
Where's he at?
Down. There. Bottom left.
Yeah, there he is.
Go-
No,
no,
left, yeah.
left. Yeah.
I mean, fuck.
Look at him. I felt bad for Joey after this.
Oh, me
Honestly, I
too,
did.
man.
I spoke to Joey after the
Yeah,
fight.
me too.
Joey's a really, really good guy. He's a character.
And look, Joey will bounce back from this for sure.
I hope he does. I hope he
think
keeps
he will.
fighting. I hope he keeps fighting.
Yeah.
Because I know he was pretty upset after.
Yeah, I
the
think
fight.
if you want to talk fight strategy specifically, I think Cez just came in with a better strategy.
Yeah, I feel like we had the better game plan there. I don't really know what their game plan was, but our game plan was always to try and put the pressure and put the heat on Joey, keep him walking back the whole time, never getting him comfortable. Because Joey's pretty flashy for a big guy.
Yes, he is.
He's got some good striking, and he's very deceiving. He can take a shot. Like he fought Sukopi, and like I seen him go to war with him.
Yeah.
And we knew he's tough, but people are sometimes tough when you allow them to be.
Yeah, so Cez was very good at, from what I noticed anyway, Cez was very good at keeping that distance tight and just working within range.
Yeah.
Just working within range.
We felt like Cez would probably have the better gas tank as well. So we were like, don't leave anything in the gas tank. And like he
eats a
Cez
lot
was
of
tiring.
chicken, man. He eats
a
a lot of chicken.
A lot of chicken. He Cez was tiring, but I think he was just like able to keep that pace up a little bit more. Man, I love looking back at this and seeing all the fight photos and stuff like that. But yeah, back to the charity. The main thing that like I like seeing is the joy in people. Like the same way you see it in Cez and you see it in those people. Like me having that extra $1,000 or $2,000, $5,000 or whatever doesn't make me really like happy. You know, money isn't one of those things that ever made me happy. So if I could help someone do that, even if no one on the TikTok platform wants to get on board and help, that's fine. I'm gonna still do it anyway, and I'm still doing my thing.
Let me know when that comes around. We're happy to fucking donate, bro. 100%.
And I'm sure some of the sponsors on Urban Fight Night are gonna jump on board as well. I know I've spoken to a few guys as well that are like, yeah, they're into it. So I want to do something like that. I'll get me in the Urban Fight Night team to maybe create something.
Beautiful. Well, I know you're not big on social media. But is there any particular sponsors or perhaps just the Urban page in general that you want to shout out, let people know how to find?
Well, look, guys, if you want to follow my gym, follow us at Australian Top Team on Instagram. We have a TikTok page, which is now run by me.
Sweet.
I just run a TikTok page because I don't have Instagram or anything right now. I got my blue tick and I was like, oh, fuck this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got my blue tick. I was off.
Most people double down when they get the blue tick.
I doubled down for a little bit, but then I realized it was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want to follow us on Urban Fight Night as well, that is where like all of the content you can check out for the fighters, not just in New South Wales. We've got fighters from all around Australia that are coming in, and guys that are coming on the podcast as well. Sponsor wise, I don't really have any sponsors myself anymore. Like I've stayed away from the sponsor lane. But just thank you to yourself and everyone else that's had me out here today.
Oh, brother, it's a pleasure.
To come and do a podcast. I always like coming in and talking about MMA and just
You're
things
a natural.
in general. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm gonna start my own podcast.
I'm all for it, bro.
No. I'm just cheering up. I can't. This studio is hectic. Like now that I've come in here, I'm never doing a podcast. Because I walked in, I thought a podcast was just like a computer laptop and like you got a couple microphones and you're like, yeah guys, what's going on? This is our first podcast.
Yeah.
But
well, I'll be honest with you, bro. That's how I
started.
started out, man. And very much like you, how you were blessed with opportunities to get into the MMA. I've been blessed with opportunities to record out of this space.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like I could have done this by myself.
Nah, you done a sick job, honestly. And honestly, I like seeing all the interviews with all the boys and I appreciate everything you're doing for the guys at Urban Fight Night. And I know I've spoken to them and they've really enjoyed speaking to you as well. Like they've enjoyed their time on their podcast.
I'm glad to hear that. So that's humbling.
Even if it's not guys from my gym, like Joey's interview, like I had the biggest laugh watching Joey's interview. And like Luke as well. Luke was someone who trained at our gym before, so I know Luke very well. So seeing him on the podcast and myself as well, getting to know these guys a little bit better through your podcast has really, really been helpful because, you know, I didn't speak in detail to a lot of the fighters from other gyms, and sometimes I wanna hear what they've got to say, and I want to hear them speak on these platforms, and I like hearing their stories as well.
Yeah.
It's not just about like the Australian top 10 fighters, it's about like everyone in the whole
Sydney
community.
scene.
That's why you see, like, if someone beats one of my fighters,
Yeah.
it is what it is, you know. Like, I'm happy for everyone. Like, we fought Joey. If Joey had beaten Cez, I would have been upset for Cez, but I would have been happy for Joey.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Same thing with Niam and Fahud. Fahud's one of my best mates. But Niam is like a classy guy, and he's someone that I really, really like in
I have no doubt
the
about it.
MMA
I haven't had the
community.
chance to interact with him that much.
Nah,
Unfortunately,
I know
so,
Fahud gives him a lot of shit, but Fahud knows it himself too. Fahud's a troll.
Yeah.
Fahud knows Niam's a good dude. He's a really, really
take your
good
word
dude.
for it,
So
then.
he hopefully he'll get that lightweight title fight, and like I don't have to see one of my guys fight him this time. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, if you're a good fighter, it's hard to put your friends up against him, right?
Yeah, that's the business,
tough.
but that's
Yeah.
the business.
All right, so I think we'll wrap it up there.
Let's wrap it up.
Thank you
Hopefully, I'll
very
be
much
back
again.
for another episode after the next Urban.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, we'll do like
100%.
maybe a little post Urban Fight Night recap.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, man, I'm like so grateful to have all your fighters that come on and talk, because they're great. I love talking to fighters. I love talking to people of all walks of life, but in particular, like I lean towards fighters. I appreciate them a
I
lot.
like that. It's good for you. Like I said, you help our guys a lot, because without these things, they need media training. They need to learn how to speak in front of a microphone. That's why I've got the post-fight interviews. That's why I want to do the pre-fight interviews. I want to do all that, so they get used to this.
Yeah.
This is very, very important. So you creating this platform and giving everyone this opportunity, and you're not doing it for anything extra other than like passion.
Yeah,
you know, right
100%.
now you're doing it because you want to. So if there's any fighters out there that ask you to come on their podcast, make sure you guys come on and enjoy your time here, because I've liked it.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, man.
Thanks,
I appreciate
brother.
it. All right, guys, that's it.